What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Retro Rental Review. I'm Thrash, along with Andy.
Hello, everybody.
Today, we're going to do what's popular at the movie theaters right now. And what's popular right now? The Super Mario Brothers movie. So that's right, we're going back to the 90s, and we're going to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie. Oh, wait. We can't. And why is that, Andy?
Ain't not one goddamn streaming service has it.
It's true. It's true. Andy and I spent 3 days trying to find the Super Mario Brothers from the 90s with John Leguizamo and dude from Roger Rabbit.
Yep.
You know, we couldn't find it anywhere. And to begin this, we're going to start with a rant of why video stores are still needed.
Yeah.
All we had to do was just jump in our car, drive down to Blockbuster, and rent the fucking shit for $1.99. we can't even do that. So we couldn't do Mario Brothers. So that idea goes out the window. So instead, we're going to do the next closest thing, which is one of my favorite movies, Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
There you go. Yes. Thank you, Thrash, for that amazing introduction. Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Yes. Yeah, we definitely want to do that damn Super Mario Brothers movie. And yeah, you can't. I mean, it was a simpler time. How hard was it? You know, yes, you waited like 6 months for it to come out on video, but it came out on video. You went in, you paid your money, you got your Whoppers, you know, and then you came home with the movie. Like,
and it always stayed in the video store.
Always.
It never went away.
Always. And now it's just, you know, you're lucky to stream movies. Like some platforms have it and some don't. Some you can rent, some you can watch for free. It's a goddamn mess. And I think we're just getting old, you know.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
But that would have been a great movie review.
Yes.
Yeah, especially because we said we weren't going to do another horror one this week.
But here we are. Trifecta, baby.
But here we goddamn are. It is what it is. Okay. So, but I am excited about this. You did pick,
yes.
You said you wanted to pick something of your own, and that is Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I remember watching this movie, and I absolutely loved it when I was a kid. Just the absurdity of it. Even as a child, it never like really scared me. You know, It's just, I wouldn't necessarily call it even a horror film. So maybe we're kind of getting away from horror just slowly, right? But yeah, so today we're going to transfer into 1988 to see Killer Klowns from Outer Space, directed by Stephen Chiodo. Does that sound good? Chiodo?
Chiodo? Sorry if we messed that up.
Sorry, Stephen. He's fine. He's living on royalties from Killer Klowns to this day. Starring Grant Kramer, Susan Snyder, John Allen Nelson. I don't know who any of these people are. I don't remember seeing them in anything else ever in the history of anything, but they definitely made their presence known in this movie.
But also John Vernon is in it, and John Vernon has been in a ton of stuff.
Is that the redneck in the beginning?
That's Mooney, baby.
Oh, Mooney. Okay, Mooney.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he has been in a lot of stuff.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
I've seen him in a lot of stuff.
He's great.
He is, and well, I know especially in this movie, he's just amazing.
A shining star.
An absolute joy to watch. Okay, all right. So why don't you lead us in here, Thrash?
Absolutely. So, you know, Killer Klowns from Outer Space is the exciting tale of aliens who basically turn into clowns and come to Earth and start turning people into cotton candy cocoons. Now, if you're confused on the premise of that, don't worry, you're going to be even more confused when we start going.
That is the premise. There's nothing.
That is the premise of the movie.
There is no metaphor. There is nothing to decipher. It's literally cotton candy shooting aliens.
Cotton candy shooting aliens. They got popcorn guns.
Popcorn and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in it for the long haul, folks. But you know,
the 80s. It was great.
The 80s, baby. It was crazy and wild, and God bless it, I miss it.
Yeah. Good time. Simpler time.
So you know, we start out with the movie. You start out with like, you kind of look at space, and you kind of got like this kind of dark, kind of like clown laughing, like ha 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 ha, and you're like, oh boy, this is gonna be fucking scary. Only to turn into some like awesome rock music from one of my favorite bands, the Dickies.
I didn't know it was the Dickies that played that.
Yes, the Dickies did the song, which is basically titled "Killer Klowns from Outer Space." And you know, you're sitting here, you're rocking out to the song, you're like, oh hell yeah. You know, all of a sudden we go into the town, and if anyone knows this movie, Santa Cruz. That's what it is.
Oh,
Santa Cruz.
Okay.
Yes, shot in Santa Cruz. You see Officer Mooney patrolling the streets in his squad car, and across the street you see a young boy holding a bunch of bags from the grocery store, drinking a beer as he crosses the street in front of Mooney, drinking a beer. And you hear Mooney say, "Little shit."
So right away, the movie's so good because it starts you off in character development. You know that Mooney's going to be a prick. Who's bitter old man.
Mooney, yes.
Yeah. And you know he was doing that crap when he was a young kid.
Yes, he is the perfect example of the ultimate disgruntled employee.
Yeah. He was a Karen before they were popular.
He really was. Instead of a Karen, I think they were called Curtises.
Curtises, yes. Officer Curtis, okay.
Yes. We go up after that scene. Then now all of a sudden we're at the top of the world.
Top of the world.
The big makeout scene.
Yep, the makeout point. Every 80s movie had a makeout point. Yep.
You know, I didn't get to do that. Did you ever get to go to makeout point? Listen, I never got to go.
College parties, makeout points, and all of these shenanigans that all these kids are getting together. Like, have you ever seen like Animal House and all that? Nothing like that. It was literally like and you know why? Because we were born into a generation that was prevalent in video games and professional wrestling. So we were occupied, you know, fucking WWF and all their shit screwed up my sex life when I was a young boy. When I was horny,
we wanted to touch controllers instead of women,
instead of nipples. Yep, it was. My mom was like, "Oh, where's your girlfriend?"
Instead of nipples.
That's right. Yeah, just I'm too busy pressing the shoulder buttons. Fuck.
So we go to one of the cars, and one of the cars has our two main characters, which is Mike and Deb.
So let me tell you before we start this. Before we go into this, I'm going to tell you because I was watching the movie. It's been years, and I mean like years. It's probably been like good 15, 20 years since I've seen this film. And I remember I wrote it down in my notes. What does it say? Oh, because I didn't know his name at the time when we were first introduced to the characters. So I see Mike and Deb, and I call Mike Mr. Cosby Sweater. Because it's awful. It's awful. Remember when nobody had any muscle tone, and they were all wearing that one. They were all wearing that one sweater. They all had that sweater. It was passed around from film to show and everything,
And what's amazing about that sweater, too, is what else was going on in that car? They were drinking champagne, and they were lying on a life raft inside his car. So not only is he going to get laid in that ugly-ass sweater, he's going to get laid in a life raft, which saved Indiana Jones from the exploding plane in Temple of Doom.
That's right.
And he's getting drunk off a cheap-ass champagne.
Yeah.
Does this guy know how to get laid?
No shit.
Fuck yeah.
I'm telling you, like that was the pimp in that time.
It was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
But you know what? But what does every 80s movie have? A cock block. And what's the cock block in this movie?
The brothers.
The ice cream salesman, the Terenzi brothers, who literally pull up in the next scene blasting ice cream music.
I loved
it.
I loved it.
And then they come up and they say great lines like, "Want to get a stick?
Yep.
We'll give you a lick. Give it a lick." and also, now they also like go up to the point. And everyone's yelling at them because they're trying to get lucky, and they're like, "Get the fuck out of here, you fucking assholes!" Only to go back into the truck, and the brothers are like, "Hey, well, good job. You said this was a good idea, a great way to meet chicks." When what comes out of the back of the ice cream truck? Oh man, eating ice cream, two fat girls.
these two mullet-ridden heifers come from the back. And you know what? I'll tell you, listen, I mean, subtlety wasn't around back then. Wait, not a lot of people got offended. But I can imagine the casting for this movie was like, are you a fat heifer?
The Terenzi brothers drive off. Thank God. Everyone's like, oh, man, those guys are fucking assholes, except for Mike. Mike is laughing his ass off going, the Terenzi brothers, I love those guys. They're so great and funny. Meanwhile, he's got Deb right there, who's basically sweaty and ready.
Right, yeah.
And finally, Mike goes, man, why am I talking about the Terenzi brothers when I could be talking about dead.
Yeah.
I'm kissing you. When what happens next? A fucking meteor goes flying over, ruining the mood because now the two heroes of the movie want to go investigate what the hell that was.
White people shit. I'm telling you.
White people shit.
You know what? We do the stupidest shit. They're like, oh, there's danger over there. Let's go alone in the dark.
Yes. Let's go check that shit out. I bet you we would die. But we got to see what it is.
Oh yeah, it was funny too because you cut to the old redneck miner guy who, and he is so like, oh well, we're the cotton picking,
we're cotton picking meteor,
shooting star meteor,
like a shooting star blue. He even goes to where the meteor crash was, and he finds a big fucking circus tent.
Yeah.
So him and his dog Pooh Bear, literally they see this thing, and he goes, "Well, I'll be greased and fried." This is gonna be the greatest show I've ever seen.
There was a ride back in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s. There was this virtual reality ride that played at Universal Studios City Walk. That had all these different shows you could watch, and the theater would move, according to that. And one of them was called the Devil's Mine Ride. And I'll splice it in, but you got to see this miner guy who sets you up into this dangerous cavern. It's literally this dude from the movie. It's like this guy.
I think it's the guy.
Big ass beard. He's just like, oh well, I bet you're all ready to go into the mine.
I reckon you're all ready to take a nice, easy tour of this here old mine. Oh, they fixed it up real nice and safe for you. Excepting you ain't going there. No, you're gonna see my kind of mine. If you can, just try and come back alive.
Oh, fuck.
That's great.
So now you have the curious old man who's trying to find a way into the circus tent, but there's no way into the circus tent. So he's creeping around. You even see this scene where he's kind of walking by, and all of a sudden in the back, you see a big silhouette of a clown kind of creeping along after him. And you're like, oh boy, here we go. So all of a sudden, there's a hole that opens up in the tent. This net comes out, and you hear Pooh Bear go, "Arr!" And then all of a sudden, the old man turns around and goes, "Pooh?
Yeah.
Where is that dog?" And I think he finds his bandana. He finds Pooh's bandana or something, right?
Yep.
And he picks up the bandana. He's like, "Where's my dog?
Yeah.
Where's my Pooh Bear?" So now the old man thinks it's going to be a good idea to tear this tent down with his bare hands. And what's the first thing he does? What's the first thing anyone does when they're angry at something? Oh, they fucking punch him.
And it was like, it was so obvious he wasn't punching shit.
He punches it. So he punches it. He hurts his hand. And then what's the next best thing you want to do? You want to grab onto the thing that looks like a power cable. Yeah. And you want to grab it, right?
Yep. So grab the power line because that is safe.
That's safe.
That is safe. And this
and
motherfucker
he electrocutes the shit out of himself.
Turns into Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Just like Marv from Home Alone 2. Just
You got to splice in that scene.
There it is. It's in.
So now we see the clown, and I believe his name is Jumbo. And the only reason why I know that is because I have the pop figure of him.
Oh.
So I think his name is Jumbo. And anyways, what he does is he pulls this gun out, and he starts shooting it at the old man. You see the old man, and he's kind of turning pink, and then it goes to the next scene, which now we are at the police station, and we meet Dave, and we also see Officer Mooney again.
Yep.
Now, like we said earlier, Officer Mooney is the typical disgruntled employee. I think he's bringing in 2 punk kids, and he brings them in, and like he's like ready to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, he's beating the shit out of these kids. These poor college kids.
It's like police brutality, baby. Why
don't you stay on
It was
campus?
okay in the 80s. Police brutality was okay in the 80s.
It was totally okay. It was totally okay.
And then we have the very straight-laced Dave, who says, hey, look, if you want to book them, you do it by procedure.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave, Dave is like he tries so hard to be the hero of the police in this movie.
But is he not though?
Well, I mean, if comparatively so, if you bring him in comparison to Mooney, sure he is. But Jesus Christ.
I think the clowns are more of a hero than Mooney is.
Oh, totally. No, 100%. Like we went into this movie after that first scene when Mooney's like, "Oh, punk kids." We were just like, "We hope he dies. We want him to die. Please die." There's always that movie. There's always that
he's
movie.
Gonna get it.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna go. He's like one of the first.
So now we're back. We're back up in the forest, and we see Mike and Deb have found their way to the crash site. Now, before we go any further, Mike all of a sudden has the most amazing hop skills I've ever seen in my life, as he literally standing hops onto the hood of the car. He's squatted down, and he does his best Native American impersonation.
Oh, God.
And, he basically says, we got to go that way to find the crash site.
Yeah.
So those hops, I don't know if it was the shoes, I don't know what, but Mike's got some hops. So, Mike out there, the actor, I appreciate those hops, buddy.
Unbelievable.
White man can jump.
They can. And his name is Mike. White man.
His name is
this
Mike.
White man can jump.
White Mike, baby.
White Mike Jordan. That's what we're going to call you from now on. White Mike Jordan.
So now Mike and Deb, they find their way to the circus tent. Mike is all excited, but of course Deb is a little reserved, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know if we should go in there." And Mike's like, "What are you talking about? It's gonna be great. Let's go in."
And all the while he's making like he's like trying to calm her nerves and just telling the most ridiculous, stupid fucking jokes. And she's like, "It's a funny."
But it's more like a pity laugh from Deb.
It is. Point. It's just like,
like it's almost like she's like, "Why do I sleep with you?"
Right. Wasn't it bad enough we were banging on the inflatable raft? Now we're walking through this fucking.
That smelled like an adventurer from Nepal.
Still airplane fumes on it.
And chickens. So now we're in the tent. They're exploring the tent. Mike's doing his best. Step right up. Come on and see the show. And Deb's loving it now.
They're fucking loving it. She's all over it. She's infatuated with this incredibly funny man.
Yeah,
in an amazing sweater.
And now they're in this tent, and everything looks like it's a crazy clown setup.
Spaceship.
Like,
it's the inside of a spaceship painted to be like a circus tent, and it's just so incredibly goofy.
They open up a door, and all of a sudden they find the ship's reactor, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't a circus tent! Holy crap!" And I mean, this reactor seriously looks like the thing that Obi-Wan Kenobi shut down in Star Wars.
It looks like it. And I wrote down in my note, it looks like the Star Wars, like the final battle between Luke and Darth Vader where he fell. I'm like, this is the exact same thing, except it's more pink. And it has that cheesy, that electric ball. When you touch it, the current goes that way. Like somebody was just like in the background, like holding off slightly off camera like this.
Like they were like, "Dude, we should use this." So now they start. They're like, "Oh crap! Like this, we need to get out of here." But of course, now coming down the other corridor is the silhouette of another clown. So they quickly open up another door, and what do they find? They find the cotton candy cocoon room.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when these clowns shoot you is they turn you into a cotton candy cocoon, and you basically look like a pink rabbit's foot.
That's what.
Back in the 80s and 90s, we all had a little rabbit's foot that we'd have on our keychain. And what we'd do is, we'd rub it on our dick at the end of the night to try and
get lucky.
Get like the sensation of like, oh man, this is what a beaver feels like. It was horrible, but we all did it. It was okay. It was the 80s.
I mean, looking back on it now, I mean, it's a little disturbing that a bunch of horny teenagers were rubbing dead rabbits' feet on their penises. But it was okay back then. It was okay back then
because it was big. And if you scratched yourself because of the claw, hey,
it's a hazard. Casualty of war. Your little Mooney will be happy. That's why I always put a police hat on mine.
You're under arrest.
Freeze. You don't want to get busted by that thing, I'll tell you. So the cotton candy. So and it's funny too because yes, I put that in my notes too. It looks exactly like a bunch of rabbits' feet, or
a Christmas bulb,
or. I was gonna say nutsacks, but a Christmas bulb works too. Bunch of pink hairy nutsacks.
Pink hairy nutsacks.
These goddamn clowns are ruthless, just turning everybody into balls. Why am I so horny in here?
So now they're in the room, and that clown that was coming down the corridor finds his way into the room, and they eventually finds Mike and Deb, and Mike and Deb go running out of the circus tent. But before they get to the entrance, the clown grabs this gun, and you're like, oh fuck, they're gonna turn into cotton candy. And when he fires his gun, you see like this cloud of
yeah, yep.
And he shoots popcorn at him.
Fucking popcorn.
And you see him like run out and they got popcorn on him. And even Deb goes, why are they shooting popcorn?
Yeah.
And Mike goes, because they're clowns. Yeah. That's why.
As if Mike already had all the answers. It's his fault they're in this position anyway.
But, how does that make any fucking sense?
Yeah.
You're going to have therapy after this. You just got a fucking 7-foot clown just shoot popcorn on you. And now you're just going to go home and be like, I had fun tonight.
Yeah, it was on one bed. It was that popcorn thing, but they are clowns.
Yeah,
so it's
they are clowns. It's just, I thought it was funny after I thought about it.
I liked when they were in that room and they in that cotton candy room before the clown came in and they peeled off this little piece of the cotton candy.
Oh yes.
And you saw that dead ass face in there.
Yes, and it was the old man.
It was the old man. Yep. Yeah, it was the old man.
Yes.
That was kind of cool. That was neat.
So they come driving up to the police station, and now Mike's behind the wheel, and he takes out the post box, which is right in front of the police station, and runs right into the back of Dave's cruiser while Dave is outside.
Yeah.
So do you think Mike is popular with Dave already?
Already.
Probably not.
And what we find out later, too, it kind of adds to Dave's infuriety. Well, didn't Mooney come out because he overheard that conversation between them?
Yes.
Talking?
And
he's like, Killer Klowns.
Says, yes. He comes out and he says, oh, Killer Klowns, Dave.
Yeah.
And he goes off on kind of like how it's a prank, and then he notices Mike, and he says the best thing ever. He goes, I know you, you little fart.
you little fart.
And he goes, this is guy that hangs out with those Terenzi brothers.
Yeah.
They're always pranking everybody. This is a prank, Dave. Don't listen to him. And, I think Dave is kind of on the fence, but being, that he's an officer of the law and he wants to do the right thing, he decides to believe Mike and Deb of their crazy killer clown story.
Yeah.
So after that, they take Deb home. They all pop into Dave's now bent fender cruiser, which I'm sure Dave is already pissed about.
Yep.
And you find out that Deb and Dave used to be romantically involved.
And they start having a conveation as if Mike is
about
in the car.
with Mike in the back going, oh shit.
I mean, what a horrible night for Mike.
And now Mike and Dave go solo up to the top of the world to find the circus tent. Remember, where was the circus tent? In the middle of the woods. Who used to bang Deb? Dave. Who's now banging Deb? Mike. Do the math, people.
Yep.
So they go up to the woods, and they go to the spot where the circus tent was, but it's not there anymore. So now
Dave is fucking pissed.
Now Dave's pissed. Now Dave's like, "Oh fuck, Officer Mooney was fucking right. You guys are fucking with me. You're under arrest."
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you lie to a cop in the 80s, you get arrested for it because it's called the asshole law.
Yeah.
Now, all while this is going on up at the top of the world, now you have the clowns who have now infiltrated the town.
Right, because
they followed Deb and Mike when they ran out. And now they're doing all their crazy stuff to get people. I think there was one doing a puppet show.
So the puppet show. Oops, the puppet show scene was just hilarious because you had another dude in an equally bad sweater. He came over and
who looked like the drummer from the Monroes.
Sees the puppets and the puppets are all like, whatever, is this fucking guy and a girl puppet.
It was like abuse.
It was. And and you could see like the lady puppet started to get really freaking angry. The eyebrows came down and shit. And shot the Why were you gonna go to a puppet show and see somebody get shot? And the fucking and the kid from Full House is just like
and he's got to do it like the like this isn't entertaining.
That's right.
Like motherfucker, you just walked up to like a random ass puppet show.
You're getting a free show, in
the middle of this dark gazebo, and you think everything is going to turn out okay?
Right. This is totally normal. And you see that big ass dude, that tall ass clown comes out.
Yes, so the tall ass clown comes out while still holding the puppet with the gun, and boom, turns this guy into cotton candy.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was a really cool scene. I absolutely love that scene, and it's crazy because you have the clowns that are everywhere. But during that time, it cuts to a bunch of different stuff.
You got the ones going house to house. You also got the one that is in the pharmacy and the pharmacist.
Yeah.
Hello.
That clown was far enough away. You know what I mean? If the pharmacist couldn't give a shit about his red vines, all he had to do was walk out the door. That motherfucker.
Can I help you?
That dude stayed there for like 5 scenes.
It didn't leave.
It was at least a span of like 45 minutes. That old man, he's got nothing to live for. He's like
cotton candy cocoon pods all over the fucking pharmacy, and he's just, are you going to pay for something, Sonny?
You had a clown doing the pizza delivery.
Yes.
Oh, the box of chocolates.
Yes.
And it was
they're all turning everyone into cocoons.
Yeah.
The cotton candy cocoons. But then we get one of the best scenes. All of a sudden you see all these guys hanging around. It's like a motorcycle club.
Oh.
So like Sons of Anarchy in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you see this little trike come up with the little small clown. So you got this big bad dude who's trying to show off in front of his friends, and he goes, "Watch this, babe." And he walks up to this little clown and goes, "Is that your bike?" And you got the clown that kind of shakes his head and goes, "Can I ride your bike?" "Well, can I honk the horn?" Oh yeah, you can honk the horn. So what's the big guy do? He grabs the bike, he picks it up, and he fucking power slams it on the ground, breaking the shit. Well, now you made the little clown angry. He puts on boxing gloves and he's like doing his thing. I think he does this thing where he like turns around and he's getting all crazy. And now the big guy asks for it. He goes, "What are you going to do? Knock my block off? What do you think happens, internet land?"
Yep.
His head goes completely flying off from a right haymaker from Punchy.
Yeah, it was great too. Just seeing him land in the trash can and seeing the only black guy in the group go, "Damn." It was Farouk. It was the early incarnation.
Farouk.
That's right.
Got his damn thing from that dude in the movie.
There's one black guy in the entire film. He has one line, and it's damn.
Yes. So now the clowns aren't done, because now we go to the fast food restaurant, which is called Big Top Burger.
Yes.
And you have this little girl eating her food, and you got like her mom talking to her friend.
The worst
and all
mom
of a sudden
in the world.
all of a sudden she looks outside and she sees Jumbo out there. And Jumbo's like playing with her, doing peekaboo, and she's doing it back. And all of a sudden Jumbo goes like this.
Yeah.
And he's like, come out here. And what do you see behind Jumbo's back is a fucking hammer.
Yeah.
Like a big, like candy cane striped hammer. And you know he's about to wallop this little girl. Because now what does she do? She leaves the table. She's opening the door. She's about to go outside when you see this giant 7-foot clown going like this, where all of a sudden the mom grabs her and goes, where do you think you're going, young lady? You don't get to go anywhere unless you finish your food. And then brings her back in, and it's like,
the worst mother in the world.
Hello, there's a fucking 7-foot clown with a hammer behind his back.
John Wayne Gacy is outside.
John Wayne Gacy is outside.
and you're telling like, little girl, come here.
Get in here and finish your food.
Oh, just go and finish her. You know what I mean? Like, heaven forbid that chick finished her food. Her mom would never have been the wiser. This is the worst mother in the world for that little girl to be like, okay, I'm leaving now. Sure.
Now we go to the bathroom scene with Deb.
Yeah.
And what does every 80s every 80s movie have? That was a horror movie, Andy?
Tits.
Yes. Although we didn't see any.
I know, it's kind of bummed out. It's like, tits.
But you do see her changing, and you see the popcorn fall off of her clothes, and she gets in the shower. But at the very end of the scene, you see the popcorn that was on her clothes start to crawl.
Yeah. It was like, it reminded me of the marshmallows in Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, you just see it start to crawl, and you're like, oh, shit, now what's going to happen?
Yeah, things are happening now.
You know? So now that they got you with the popcorn, now you want to know, like, okay, well, what the fuck is that popcorn?
Right.
Now we see Jumbo, who's made his way to the back part of Big Top Burger, and he's sprinkling some popcorn into the dumpster. And now, after Jumbo sneaks away, this employee from Big Top Burger comes out to throw away the trash. Now, what's scary about this scene? The uniform that they make you wear at Big Top Burger. That shit is awful. He was wearing like a polka dot tie with like the little polka dot hat, and like he had like, I think like the little apron on, and it was like all polka dots that said Big Top Burger. So I'm going to ask you this. Here's my poll question for everyone out there. Who wore it worse, Big Top Burger employees or hot dog on a stick employees?
Hot dog on a stick. Yep, that's what I wrote. I was just like, oh, this is hot dog on a stick uniform right here.
Yeah,
and they still wear that shit. You ever go to the mall? They're still wearing that.
They still wear it.
How
they smile?
Yeah, and they're all excited, and you never see anybody over the age of like 25 working there, because by then they have their pride. You know what I mean? Like, oh, congratulations on your first job. Here's your fucking hat. They could rebrand. Remember when McDonald's went from like red and yellow to just gray? You know, it went from like a playful child to a sad adult, like overnight. You know, they could do that with hot dog on a stick. You know, hot dogs on a sticks are pretty depressing too.
Yes,
so they could
100%, 100%. But you know, it's not depressing.
A man-eating dumpster.
Yes, because that's what happens to the employee. He gets eaten by the monster that has now grown from the popcorn in the dumpster.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He gets
fucking eaten. Then what's the next scene? The shadow puppet scene. Yes. So now you have one of the clowns who is he's standing next to people who are waiting at a bus stop, and he starts doing shadow puppets.
But this motherfucker was talented. He had a bunny, an elephant, George Washington on a boat.
But what does the clown do? You know, he turns into a T-Rex and he eats that crowd of people.
Yeah.
Now, who sees this but Dave and Mike, who have now come down from the hill, and they literally see it. Mike is pleading with Dave, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. That's one of the clowns. We got to go. And Dave's like, wait a minute. I want to see what happens. So they see these people get eaten, and now they're like, holy shit. So they run over the clown because Mike freaks out. By the way, Mike does not know how to fucking drive.
No, just crashes into every fucking thing. It's crazy.
Like so far, he's hit 3 things. And in fact, the third thing that he hit was the wall. He didn't even hit the clown.
Didn't even hit the clown.
Flew away.
The clown had almost as good as hops as Mike. Just fucking flew away.
The clown was like.
And they crash into the wall like this. This poor fucking this Mike is just not having a good day.
This poor cop car, right?
It's just gets going through the ringer in this movie.
This cop car is getting beat to shit.
It was truly the hero of the film.
So now what do you do if you see a clown fly away and eat people with shadow puppets? What do? You call your partner and you say, "Hey, call the state militia or the state police and get them down here."
Yeah. Well,
Mooney's on the dispatch, and he's like, "Hey, Dave, I thought the clowns got you."
Yeah.
Over. And you got Dave all frantic. "Mooney, you got to call the state police. There are clowns. They're clowns, and they're fucking putting people in cocoon pods and blah, blah, blah." And now Mooney's like, "I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to retire. Drive me out. Drive me nuts. Well, it's not going to work. So fuck you." Over.
Over? So fuck you. Over.
So now, obviously, Mooney's not going to call for help. Dave and Mike are basically on their own. Until Mike finds the Terenzi brothers come up.
Yes.
Because now the Terenzi brothers are still trying to sell ice cream. So Mike goes off with the Terenzi brothers to try and warn people like, "Hey, there's clowns. Stay indoors."
Yeah.
And Dave thinks it's a great idea. "Go warn everybody. I'm going to go get Deb." So basically, Dave was like, yeah, go off with your friends. I'm going to go bang my ex-girlfriend right under your nose. It'll be great.
Yeah, and Mike's all about it. He's like, okay.
Mike's like, "You're right. I should go warn people."
As Dave unzips his pants and
as Dave starts spraying, cologne down his pants because he
starts rubbing the rabbit's foot in his dick. No, Dave, that's a cotton candy.
Dave, no.
Oh shit.
So now Mike's going off with the Terenzis, and now we're back to the police station. You got Mooney sitting behind his desk. The phones are going crazy because people are getting attacked by killer clowns, and he's just looking around reading his book going, "Bastards."
Yeah. Like
it's not going to get me.
Like everybody in the town is have to prank Mooney. He's like, "Oh no, yeah, they're at the front door, are they?"
Yeah, he's like, you're all a bunch of full of shit.
Yeah.
So now in walks Jumbo doing the goofiest little walk ever, and Mooney sees him and he says, "Whoop-de goddamn de doo! What do we got here?" And he kind of sees it as a joke at first, and I think he even arrests Jumbo.
Well, he arrests,
and his hands fall off.
He arrests Jumbo because Jumbo squirted him with the flour.
That's right. Yes.
And Mooney is pissed. So per the asshole law, Mooney now has jurisdiction to arrest him. And he puts the cuffs on him. And the clown walks away, and the fucking hands stay in the cuffs. The hands just come off.
And now Mooney's pissed. He got drenched with water.
Yep.
He got made a fool of, and Jumbo goes towards the jail cells. So now Mooney's like, "I got you now, you little bastard."
Yeah.
And Jumbo reveals that he's got hands.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Double dream hands." And Mooney puts him in the cell, but before he puts him in the cell, Mooney being a dirty cop or police brutality, he hits him on the back of the head with his flashlight.
Yep.
And
then the
Jumbo's head turns around.
Yeah.
But his body doesn't move. His head just turns completely around and goes, "Rah!"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh fuck!" So he locks him in.
And then he blows his party favor in Mooney's face. Right?
Yes.
Right as soon as he closed the door, he blows his party favor, and the fucking thing goes out to fucking choke Mooney.
Yes.
It
chokes him.
And it's a great cut because you can tell like it's just a hand in a sock. Like somebody on the crew got paid for that. He's like, "Listen, I need a hand. It goes in a sock." Grabs Mooney by the throat and pulls him into the bars and knocks him out. The fucking clown looks at the kids. The kid's like, "Oh, well, what are you in for?" Oh, shit.
And of course, that's the next scene. Now you have Dave who made his way into the police station. All the lights are off, and Dave's like trying to use the phone, but nothing's working. All the power's out. And now Dave's looking for Mooney, but he can't find him. So he goes to the jail cells.
Yes.
And now all over the walls, you see like these footprints. And he goes to the jail, and he sees 2 cotton candy cocoons in the jail cell. So he goes in to look at it. and he pulls away one of the pieces, and he sees the face of one of those kids.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the arm falls down from the top one, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And he gets the hell out of there, only to come into the next room, and who's sitting in Mooney's chair?
Yep.
Fucking Jumbo.
Yeah. And this was actually cheesy as it was kind of
creepy.
It was pretty creepy because because then he turns and he's working Mooney like a puppet.
Yes.
And it's obvious he's a puppet, and he has these lines and stuff. And Mooney says something that was pretty creepy. He says, "Don't worry,
don't worry, Dave.
All
we just want to kill you."
Yeah, yeah, creepy. That was actually creepy. He takes his hand out, and fucking Mooney falls forward. He was like, I would assume he's up his back. It could have been somewhere else.
When he pulled it out, it was red, not brown. So
yeah, well, I mean, there's blood vessels in there too.
That's true. They do pop.
If,
those power shits.
Get a hand up your ass. I guarantee. I guarantee it's not going to come out totally brown. There's going to be some red speckles in there. Like, that's my pancreas. Oh shit. Okay.
So now Jumbo gets up after throwing Mooney on the ground, and he starts walking towards Dave, and he's throwing tables out of the way. And Dave doesn't know what to do. So what do you do when a clown attacks you, everyone?
You shoot him
in the fucking nose.
Yep. And it's great the way it popped. His nose pops and all this confetti flies out.
Yes.
It was neat. It was like a gender reveal. Before gender reveals were cool.
Yes. Instead of doing gender reveals in the 80s, you pop clowns' noses, and that's how you got your confetti and fun and all.
Yep. And it's like, oh, it's a boy, The clown spins around in this humorous, cartoony, glowy green thing, and then dies.
And then we lost Jumbo. Jumbo is now dead.
Yep.
So now we're back into the bathroom. After all this time, Deb was fucking taking a shower, taking her sweet ass time. And now she finally gets out, only to throw her clothes into the laundry hamper. And what comes out?
Yeah.
These two creepy ass clown snake things.
The worms, these clown worms, yeah.
I think they come out of the wall cabinet, and then a big one comes out of the toilet.
Yep, and that was the shit that she took earlier before the shower.
Yes. There was popcorn in her shit because she actually ate some of the popcorn.
Some of the popcorn got in her mouth. She took a huge dump, and here it is.
And there it is. And it turns into a crazy clown that's obviously pissed off because it grew from a shit.
Yeah. It just like it didn't have good beginnings. It obviously didn't have a good upbringing. It grew up without a dad. It came from a broken home of bowels. And
and now the other clowns show up. And the other clowns are trying to get her. Like, I think she goes to jump out the window, and they're all down there holding like one of those small little. And then I think the tall one came in and put her in a balloon.
Yeah, put her in a big old yellow bubble.
But it was one of those balloons that looked like I don't know if you remember back in the day. You remember when you went to the supermarket and you had that big old kind of cage with the balls,
with all the balls in it. Yep.
And they smelled because like every little kid would grab them and touch them, and then you would grab one and it's like, why is this all sticky and why does this smell like ass? That's what they put her in.
They put her in one of those ass-filled balloons.
They put her in an ass-filled ball that they called a balloon. Now they're having themselves a collection party. Yeah. They're coming down the street with this big truck, and they're sucking up all their cotton candy cocoons.
It looked like a parade of clowns that were coming in and just like sucking everybody into the truck.
Sucking everybody into the truck.
Yep.
Like the clown busters.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool scene. It represented the anarchy that all of the clowns have caused over the last several hours.
Yes, and also you found out that there's more than like the 4 clowns that you've seen so far. There's like 30 of them.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, how many are there? So now you got Mike and the Terenzis. They find this big parade, and they're like, holy shit, we got to get out of here. And they drive away, and Mike goes, oh my God, we got to go get Deb.
Yeah. So
they go to get Deb, and I think Dave is still on his way over, because remember, Dave was going to go over and he was going to get his dick wet. Because
Dave
that's what you do. He got rid of the boyfriend, and now he's going to go, get his little last-minute anger bang from the breakup.
It's the end of the world anyway. He might as well go out happy.
And now the chase is on. they're chasing after this clown car, and you know, they're trying to catch up with it, but they can't. And I think all of a sudden, I think the Terenzis see Dave behind them.
I love.
And they're like, "Oh, cops!" And what do you do when the cops behind you? Apparently, you just slam on your brakes.
Yep.
And what happens to the car, Andy?
Dave is just having a worst night.
Dave's insurance has got to be through the roof at
this point. It's like, hello, Progressive. You're not going to believe this. It's me again. I know this is the 4th time today. This poor fucker just crashes right into the truck. On, bud? Oh shit!
Oh. So they finally all get into the ice cream truck because now Dave's like, "Fuck this! My insurance is through the roof. We can't take my car anymore, you motherfuckers." So now he's driving the ice cream truck, and they go to where the clowns have ended up. And where do clowns go to hide?
The amusement park. And this is so like we've never seen the amusement park until now. Right?
Yes,
we had no inkling that an amusement park existed in this fucking hick town.
Yes,
but
all of a sudden it does.
All of a sudden,
right next to the ocean
amusement park.
So now you got this security guard patrolling out in front of the fun house. Probably making minimum wage, retired, fucking hates his life, and all of a sudden this little clown car rolls up, and like 7 clowns get out of the car. And
a bunch of fucking carnivorous clowns all fit into this one tiny car.
And now the clowns are out and they're looking at him, and now they're holding pies.
Yeah, the pies.
And the security guard says my favorite line in the movie. He looks at him with bewilderment in his eyes, and he goes, "What are you gonna do with those pies, boys?" And what happens next, Andy?
Oh my god! So, and I don't. It's funny too because when they all chuck the pies at this poor dude, and I don't know if it's like cherry pies or this is just his skin melting off or whatever. But all of this red sinew and cream just like melt off his body as they pile him with a bunch of pies, and the clowns walk past this pile of just disgusting pies. It must have been like 400 pies that were just like in this pile. The little tiny short clown takes a gigantic cherry and puts it right on top.
Because that's the cherry on top of the fucking scene, right?
That's great. Oh, it was so well done.
And also, how fun would that have been? Because it was probably the entire cast and crew that just got to fucking huck pies at this dude.
Yeah.
For like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because he gets hit by like 40 pies.
It must have been. It was a million fucking pies. It was just so many pies.
It must have been so fun. Because they're probably like, man, I wish this was fucking Mooney. Yeah. And now you got Mike, Dave, and the Terenzis, and they show up to the fun house. And the Terenzis are like, "Oh, look, that looks like a big pile of melted ice cream."
Yeah.
And Dave's like, "Yeah, well, it's not." And you see like the arm hanging out, and it's now a skeleton. But one of the Terenzi brothers, and I always found this interesting, one of the Terenzi brothers touches it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh," and like you kind of see him like that, like it kind of burns him.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of like getting it off as he walks into the funhouse. And I always thought that was a good touch by that actor.
It is.
Because like if he did it with, then you're like, wait a minute. So now they come up to a door, and all of a sudden the Terenzis just drop.
Yeah. Fall into this pit.
And they fall into this ball pit. And, all of a sudden Mike and Dave are like, "Where'd those guys go?" And Mike's like, "Don't worry. If I know anything about the Terenzi brothers, they always land on their feet. They're like frickin' cats." Well, they're in a ball pit, and what do you see? You see 2 female clowns. And what's their power,
that's right.
Andy?
That's right. So well, because it was funny because earlier in the film, to get the Terenzis to help, to rescue Debbie.
Help rescue Deb.
Mike was just like, the Terenzi brothers were like, "Oh, does she have any roommates?" He's like, "Oh, yes, she has 2 hot roommates." So they land in this pit, and they fucking see these 2 clown broads. And one of them looks up and says, "Are you Deb's roommates?"
But before he says that, their tits grow.
Oh, that's right. Their tits grow.
Their tits grow and expand, and you just see them like, Are you Deb's roommates?
Are you Deb's roommates?
Like, clearly they're fucking killer clown chicks. And are you Deb's roommates? You guys are hot. Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ. How fucking horny were men in the goddamn 80s?
It was the rabbit's feet.
I'll fuck anything.
Yeah, anything. You know.
I don't care.
Yep.
I don't care if it has teeth. I'll fuck it.
I don't care if it is teeth.
I don't care.
Oh, shit.
So now that the Terenzis are obviously going to get raped by two clown chicks, now we find Mike and Dave have found their way into the cotton candy room, and now they're trying to look for Deb, and they're looking at all these balloons, and they're like, no, that's not it. Where they hear the door open, and in walks a fat clown.
Yeah,
and they hide behind some of the cotton candy cocoons, and the fat clown comes up to one of the cocoons, and he's knocking on it. And he kind of like listens, and then he busts out one of those silly straws.
That was the most amazing silly straw, and it was great because the camera did a very slow pan across the entire silly straw, and it must have taken like 3 minutes. Just go from the bottom to the top of it.
And it was like at least 4 or 5 inches long. It was huge.
It looked like a road map. It was just everywhere. It was great. It was awesome. And he takes a straw and he sticks it into the cotton candy.
Yes.
And he sips out this red liquid out of the cotton candy. Yeah. Who knows what that is?
And you're just like, oh, that's gross. So after he's done having a taste, he puts a silly straw back in his ass, and he goes jolly gallantly out the door. And now Mike and Dave are still looking for Deb, and they finally find the stinky ass ball that she was put in. And now what I always thought was funny is when they find the ball, right? They find the balloon with Deb in, and you hear Dave say, Deb, honey, back away. I'm going to free you. And Mike is right there. Remember, Deb and Mike are romantically involved. Dave and Deb were romantically involved. How pissed would you be if homeboy said, Deb, honey, back away. I'm going to save you. If I were Mike, I'd be like, hey, motherfucker, give me that gun.
Yeah.
I'm going to save her. I'm the
Chick.
boyfriend.
Yep. Well, it's funny too because he tries to convince Dave not to do it. He's like, "Oh, you'll kill her if you shoot the balloon or whatever the case is."
He's like, "I know what I'm doing, pal."
And he shoots the balloon anyway, and then Deb fucking gets rescued and shit. So after all this, Dave, the ex-boyfriend, is really the hero.
Is the hero of the movie, not Mike. Mike is like, at that point, Mike is forgotten.
He is. He's sitting there in his stupid fucking sweater, just nothing going for him anymore.
Just nothing, not even doing his cool hops anymore, so nobody thinks Mike is cool anymore. Yep. He's just a fucking guy wearing a stupid fucking sweater.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to get out, and now all the clowns know where they are because they heard the gunshot. And Dave, who's now the big hero of the movie, is all of a sudden an amazing fucking shot with a shotgun killing all these clowns. Like, he just starts capping fucking clowns.
Yep.
So now you have the clowns coming after him, and they find their way to these doors. And now you have Mike's big scene of the classic joke of when you open up a door, there's a smaller door. Open up a door, there's a smaller door. And now Mike he opens up a door, he goes, another door,
another door,
another door. And he does it for like 4 or 5 times. It's like, Mike, we get it.
Yeah.
Just open up the fucking doors, man. We're trying to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So now they find themselves into the big main room. All the clowns are waiting for them. They're all armed. They all have these crazy looking clown weapons. I think the 3 of them find their way to the top of this mound, and they're trying to fight off these clowns because now they're going to close in and kill them. So all of a sudden, what happens?
No.
The Terenzi brothers come crashing through the wall in their ice cream truck.
It's great. It was
and they're saying, I am the mighty clown. Get away from them.
This is the stupidest fucking scene in the entire film.
Yes.
Where a bunch of clowns are like, oh, yeah, that's the guy.
Oh,
Because they have the big clown head on their fucking car. You know, they're like, oh, you leave them alone. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's them. But the best part of that stupid ass scene is you see the Trinzi brothers and they have lipstick kisses all over them. So you know they got fucking raped by those clowns.
Yeah, they did.
But they were happier than pigs and shit. They enjoyed it. And they even got their ice cream truck back out of it. So shit. You know all that ice cream is fucking melted.
Yeah,
because
it sure
got
is.
steamy in there.
Well, either that or the heifers from earlier fucking ate it all. So
Oh shit. That's right. They might still be in there eating the ice cream.
They're probably still back there fucking eating the ice cream.
That's right. So now they're tricking the clowns, and all of a sudden the clowns turn and they look up, and now this big fucking clown comes down. We'll call him Mega Clown.
Yeah.
He comes down, and Mega Clown is not impressed with the ice cream truck gimmick, so he comes over, he bitch slaps the ice cream truck clown head off, and he starts smashing it. And then he grabs the truck and he throws it, and the truck blows up, and you're like, the Terenzi brothers are dead. Shit.
Yeah. So the ice cream, and that was like the next note I put. I was like, okay, the brothers died. So they're
brothers are dead.
They're out of the picture.
They're done. So now you have Dave, Mike, and Deb, and Dave being now the hero, he says, "You guys get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to distract this thing." And literally, Mike and Deb are like, "Okay."
Yeah. Like, not even like, are you sure? No. It's like, okay.
Oh, okay. Bye, Dave. Good knowing you. So they run out of the spaceship. They're clear. They run out to the street, but now the spaceship is starting to take off. And now you see this big standoff between Dave and Mega Clown. And Mega Clown, being Mega Clown, grabs Dave, and you're like, oh, well, he's fucked, right? How does he get out of this situation, folks?
No.
What would you do if you were a cop grabbed by a giant fucking clown? You'd take your badge off and you'd fucking poke him in the nose. That's what you fucking do.
And this is the crazy thing is that Dave, I would assume, is at least somewhat of a seasoned cop. Maybe, new into the force, but still like a decent shot, right?
Yeah.
So he does all these. He shoots the clown so many times to distract him, and never once thinks to aim for the nose until the point where his entire body is being grabbed by this gigantic thing.
And he doesn't even have his gun anymore.
Doesn't even have his fucking gun anymore. He blew all his chances. And it really was just the fault of the clown for having him this close to his face. Where Dave is like, boop.
Boop, done. And what happens when Mega Clown dies? The entire circus tent spaceship blows up.
So now the brothers are dead. Dave is dead. And then
Dave is dead.
Yep.
Mike can bang Deb again. He's happy.
Everything's
he's secretly smiling on the outside.
Of course, because now the threat is gone. Not the clowns, Dave.
The threat is gone.
Yeah, Dave is out of the picture. Mike is once again the alpha male.
Now Mike is unzipping his pants, and all of a sudden, the clown car from earlier falls and hits the ground. And who comes out of the fucking clown car but fucking Dave?
Fucking Dave.
Fucking Dave comes out of the clown car, and he's like, oh, yeah, I got in this clown car, and it protected me. And who else comes out of the clown car, Andy?
The fucking brothers come out of the clown car.
Fucking Terenzi brothers come out of the fucking clown car, and they're like, oh, yeah, we ducked inside our ice cream, freezers, and that's what saved us. Like, motherfucker, your entire truck blew up.
Yeah.
We know that's not where you fucking hit. So now everything's happy, The Terenzis are alive. Dave is alive. Dave has his arm around Deb, and he's kissing her on the fucking head. Mike is just so happy that Dave is back. He's just like, yes, I don't have a girlfriend. So now they're standing there. They're all buddy, and they look up in the sky. And what happens, Andy?
Yeah, they're like, oh, you think it's over? Oh, yeah, it's totally over. And then they get hit by a mound of fucking pies.
Mound of pies. Cue in the dickies.
Yep.
Play the credits.
Yep.
And we have made it to the end of Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
Oh God. It's a brutal film. It really is.
It is.
It's one of those films that, again, I don't think takes itself seriously. They did this very intentionally, where they were just trying to have fun with it, and it comes across that way. It really does. And the ratings again weren't great on this. They got like a 6 out of 10 or something like that. But again, people don't. People don't
torn to shreds.
Yeah. Oh, it fucking destroyed it. But that's the charm of the movie. It's intentionally that terrible.
It's fun.
It was a lot of fun, and there's some parts in there that are genuinely creepy. Nothing's really necessarily scary, but I remember going to last year at Universal. They have this Halloween thing every year, and one of the mazes that they had last year was the Killer Klowns from Outer Space maze. And there's so many scenes in there that were so true to the film, with like Mooney working like a puppet and all this fucking, and it was just great. It was like really creepy and scary. It shows you what it could be if it was really a horror film. But the movie itself, I just thought was just it's incredibly quirky, and it's so fun to watch. And what I think what makes it really good is just such good pacing in it, where it kind of starts out pretty hot. Like it's very little of filler. It's just fun scene after fun scene after fun scene.
Yes,
and it's just really enjoyable.
I mean, it's such a fun movie that it's got such a huge cult following. And I mean, I even just heard that they're going to make a video game adaptation from it.
Oh, that's awesome!
I mean, that's amazing.
That's
awesome.
Who
wouldn't play a Killer Klowns from Outer Space video game?
Oh, I'm down.
I sure would.
I'm down. Yeah, I would totally watch that, or I'd totally play that. But yeah, good film. I liked it. Okay.
I loved it too. One of my favorites.
So would this count as your pick?
This would count as my pick. So next one is yours, Andy.
Okay, I swear we'll get away from horror films.
From B horror movies.
From B horror films. We'll go into the B comedies, I guess, next.
Yeah.
There's a couple I have in mind, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, my wife was saying, she's like, you know what movie you should do? Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. The movie about drag queens? And she's like, yeah, and I'm like, maybe one day. Maybe one day we will do that movie.
Down, yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll cover them all. We'll literally probably go through every single movie that's ever been existed.
Every single movie that you were able to rent, we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. Now we can't do Super Mario because you can't
find it.
Can't find that anymore. I'm sure they'll bring it back as soon as the new movie gains less popularity.
Yeah.
All right. So we will revisit that. I just don't know when, but we will revisit that.
2027.
Yeah, 2027. All right. Well, that's it for us. Thank you guys very much. Thrash, thank you very much for this, and especially for leading us all the way through it. It was really fun to do the storytelling. It was cool.
My pleasure.
All right. And thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and all that sort of fun stuff. And we'll see you next time for the Retro Rental Review.